Oh, that's the normal one. What is that injury? thug, I knew something. just type that. Let's have a look at some back here. I thought I did Montenegro. I don't know. Djibouti, Argentina, Micronesia, Russia, Bahamas, Nigeria, Eritrea, Panama, Andorra, Moldova, Russia, Somalia, Angola, Belgium, Slovenia, Bean. Oh, it actually was. No, that's different. I got it. No idea, some African shit. Tajik. That's Armenia. This is German. Guyana. Cambodia. Let's skip Saudi Arabia, UAE, New Zealand, Cuba, UK, South Sudan, what the fuck? Now Palestine, Qatar. Oh, what the fuck? I feel like I know. I need that one's just spelling, so fuck that. Hungary. Oh, Hungary. Iceland. African. Guatemala. It's just done here, doesn't know. Oh, it's Botswana. That's Estonia. It's like a weird one. Marshall. Lux. I mean, what the fuck, man? I'm simple. Peru. Israel. Slovakia. No, Serbia. Serbia. Honduras. Wait, did I get that Honduras? Yeah. Hades. I already got that done. No, alright. It's like Puerto Rico. Wait, let me guess this. See what it, oh, it's not even a country. Nudity? No. Come back to it. Isn't he telling us what the fuck? I'm confused. Oh, this might be. There's no Belarus like that. Let's see Belarus. Oh, is there a thing in here? I just couldn't see it. More beef. Not bad. So
Belil.
Drink again. Okay.
To get hands-on and figure things out for myself. And so last year I developed a solution that actually works. It's a 3-step technique where you, 1, just learn the absolute basics of Unity, then 2, cement those lessons with simple exercises, and then 3, figure out the rest as you go along. And it totally worked. In the space of about a year, I went from ripping off iPhone games to working on my very own puzzle platformer about magnets. And I released an interactive video essay that's had over 100,000 plays. But wait, I hear you say, how do you do step 1? How do you learn the basics when the software is so complicated to figure out? Well, for me, it was about writing down a list of things I would need to know regardless of what game I was going to make. Things like how to make a character appear and move them around the screen, how to make stuff spawn in and then delete it again later, how to have collisions and game over and animations and sound effects. Then I learnt all that by hunting through lengthy tutorials, reading the Unity docs, googling esoteric words, and doing a lot of trial and error. And so the whole point of this video is to save you that hassle. This video is the tutorial I wish I had when I was learning Unity. So in the next 40 minutes, we're going to use the engine to make Flappy Bird. Not because we want to make Flappy Bird, but because in order to remake this addictive iPhone game, we'll need to learn basically everything I just listed, from spawning objects to getting game overs. This tutorial will cover every step of the way, from downloading Unity to understanding the UI, to writing your very first line of programming code, to building a game that you can share with your friends. And then, when the tutorial is over, I'll share some concrete next steps that you can take in order to continue learning the rest by yourself. Sound good? Then let's get started. Okay, let's start by getting Unity from the website. Download and install the Unity Hub. And then you'll need to make a free account to actually use it. Once that's done, you'll be asked to install the Unity editor. I'm using version 2021.3 for this tutorial, if you're watching a million years in the future and wondering why things are different. Let's pretend I have fast internet. We're not quite done yet. Under Installs, hit the cog icon on the Unity editor and pick Modules. You'll see that Microsoft Visual Studio has been ticked. This is the software we'll use to write programming code. So hit Continue and install Visual Studio. On this screen, scroll down and tick Game Development with Unity and untick Unity Hub because we already have it. We don't need to make an account to use Visual Studio, so skip that and don't bother loading it, we'll open it later. Okay, that's all done now. So in Unity Hub, pick New Project, choose All Templates, and use 2D Core. This is an empty project with a few configurations to make it suitable for 2D games. Give your project a name, hit Create, and let's get game making. In step 1, we're going to become familiar with the default Unity user interface, and as we explore the different panels, we'll make the bird appear on screen. Right, so this is the default screen layout for Unity, and it's split into 4 panels. First of all, down here is the Project panel. This will contain everything that is in our game, like sprites, sound effects, scripts, tiles, fonts, and so on. Some of this stuff will be made in Unity as we go along, but we can also just drag and drop files from elsewhere on our computer. Like, I've made some sprites for the bird and the pipe in Photoshop, and I'm going to import them into my project like so. I'd recommend you make your own. It's always more fun, but if you have zero artistic ability, then check the description for these assets. The next panel is the hierarchy. This contains all of the stuff that's in the current scene, which in most games will be a level. We're going to start by making the bird, so right click and choose Create Empty. This has made an empty game object. So what's that? Well, a game object is essentially an invisible container. It has
So let's get to it. We'll start with Unity just because it's the most popular engine and it has the following object at our play. 1 point to the score, so it touches the floor. It's very similar to up dig too deep to find a browser future. I filled out the level by adding a the screen. RPG, what you do is drag these colored blocks of code from the left over here onto your game object. You can catch game and scratch. I have to say that working in Scratch connects differently to your score when the round is over. Cool, all the game engines I tried. It seems best suited for making a traditional well-known dodge. And just like with that, we have another finished version of the game. All in all, I'd say GDevelop is an awesome engine for anyone wanting to try 2D game development for the first time. I can't wait to use it more in the future game. Overall, I'd say my experience using Construct 3 was great. It's really cool to be I want this, except it's ended up being a pretty simple fix. Then I added the same logic as in the previous versions of the game for collecting the gems and updating the score. I did add one extra a lot about Godot community made a tool. Godot is relatively new.
Hey everyone, if you've already seen the trailer, you probably know that we've been hard at work on an FPS game tutorial series. In this video, I'm going to provide a quick overview of the entire tutorial series and what you can expect to learn. The first section of the tutorial, parts 1 through 9, covers the Blender workflow, with David as your guide. Here, you'll learn how to rig a gun model, assign it to a character rig, and create custom FPS animations. We're also going to cover exporting them as FBX files for integration into a game engine. In the next section, parts 10 through 28, we're going to switch over to Unreal Engine, where I'm going to show you how to import the models and animations from Blender, along with setting up a playable character blueprint. We'll create essential FPS game functionality like moving, crouching, jumping, shooting, and reloading. You're also going to learn how to create procedural animations and use some cool built-in tools like the Unreal Engine Chaos Destruction Physics. Stay tuned as we release each part on our YouTube channel, and don't forget to subscribe for updates. As a friendly reminder, you can also already download the entire project's source files for free on Gumroad. Check them out via the link in the description. I'll see you soon.
Hello and welcome to the first part of our FPS game tutorial series. My name is David and I am the animator here at Infima Games, also known as the art guy or Blender person. Basically I do a lot of things, but mainly I animate. If you haven't already, please check out the introduction video, and in this part we are going to be rigging the gun model, and this is the model that we're going to be using for our game project in Unreal Engine. The model that I'm going to be using today is an AAC Honey Badger assault rifle that I found on Sketchfab, and it is created by Tasty Tony, so please go check out their work. I'll put a link in the description for that so you can check it out, and I'm also going to include the credits in the actual folder for the source file. And you don't have to use this exact model if you don't want to. If you have some other model that you prefer, you can of course use that. It's totally fine. For the Blender parts of this tutorial, I have already prepared a zip file that contains the starting files as well as a nice folder setup. So before we do anything else, please make sure you download these files by using the link in the description. And once you have them downloaded, you need to unzip them using a tool like WinRAR or 7-zip or something like that. And once you have it downloaded and unzipped, you're going to get this folder set up. So we have the exported, which is the folder we're going to be exporting our files to. So it's empty at the moment. Then we have animations, which is the folder where we will place our Blender animation files into. We have meshes, which contains the mannequin and the Honey Badger model by Tasty Tony. And then we have the rigs folder that contains the mannequin rig, which is pre-made for this project, so you won't have to worry about rigging any character for this one, because that's a very tedious process and most likely needs a whole tutorial series of its own. So for this part, we're not going to be doing any of that. We're just going to be using this already set up rig. And finally, we have the textures folder, which contains the mannequin textures as well as a texture for the assault rifle. And the reason I made a texture for the assault rifle is because by default the model from Sketchfab had a whole bunch of materials assigned to it, which is not super useful when you're making a game, because then in order to optimize things you need to have everything baked into one texture and one material instead of 20 materials. So I also created a fixed version of the gun model, which is called Honey Badger Material Fix, and it's exactly as the original. The only thing I changed is that I removed the materials and created one material with the texture instead. So that's the one we're going to be using. And with that being said, I'm just going to get straight into it here. And of course we're going to be using Blender for this tutorial. So if you haven't already, please download Blender from blender.org. And I'm also going to be putting a link to that in the description. And the version I'm using is Blender 4.0.2, so you need to use at least that version or higher, because otherwise there might be some inconsistencies here. So please download the latest version if you can. And yeah, let's just start rigging the gun. So I'm going to open up Blender here. And as always, we want to delete the default objects by pressing A to select everything, and then X and delete. And let's also save this file so we don't forget by pressing Ctrl S. And then going to our folder here, and rigs and assault rifle, or whatever you call the folder. And we can just name it rig underscore. I'm just going to call it assault rifle, but you can call it whatever you like for this one. And now there's a few settings we want to change that's not correct by default. and the main one being the scale of the scene. So we want to go to units here in the scene settings and change that to 0.01 like this. And the reason we're doing this is because as far as I know, there's a scale difference between Unreal Engine and Blender, and I don't know if that's still an issue, but I did test this before and I got some errors when I imported using the default scale, and this seemed to work fine. So we're just going to go with this one for now. And then we also want to change the grid scale, because as we can see now, everything became very large, and we can do that by going here and setting the scale to the same 0.01. And we also want to change the view distance, because if we zoom out, you can see that there's this fog, which is very annoying. So we can change that by pressing N and going to view and setting the clip start to 0.01 and the end to about 50, which usually works pretty well. There we go. Now we can import the gun model, and we can do that by going to File, Import, and pressing FBX, because we're importing an FBX file, so it's important to make sure that it's in the correct format. And this one is meshes, assault rifle, and I'm going to be using the material fix version, so press that, and then import. And by default, this model has some objects attached to it, so it has an armature, camera, and light, which we don't need, so we can go ahead and select everything except for the model, and we can deselect it by holding down Shift and right-clicking twice, and then we can just delete everything else. And line here. So that it's pasted. And then set the map. And I'm gonna do the same with the trigger. I'm gonna scale it, maybe move it down a little bit.
Whoa.
With Delta's release date right around the corner, and an announcement for Master Collection Volume 2 being on the horizon, the return of the Metal Gear series continues to get bigger and better. With the latest information we have from a new interview, it truly looks like
This is only the beginning.
Big Boss and Solid Snake voice actor David Hayter teased the return of his iconic role in one of his recent posts on X, stating he was in the booth playing a role he has not played since, followed by a GIF image of Naked Snake from the upcoming Snake Eater remake. Now, as much of a legendary voice actor as he is, David's also known to mess with his audience on numerous occasions, such as talking about voicing a totally unrelated game on the day of Delta Snake Eater's announcement, announcing he was replaced as Snake on April Fool's Day, all the way to changing his Twitter profile picture to Venom Snake's voice actor, Kiefer Sutherland. In other words, you never know what Hayter's up to when it comes to teasing on social media, and with actors being bound to NDAs, there could have been more than meets the eye behind David's tweets. Having said that, in a new interview by this YouTube channel, Hayter had the following to say about his current involvement in the franchise.
There may be some things that I'm doing voice-wise that I can't really talk about yet. But I'm working to support the game, and I'm pretty involved, which is nice.
As you can see, David outright confirms that he is in fact performing new voice work for the Metal Gear series behind the scenes, which of course he cannot talk about yet. And while it's unclear whether David was referring to the upcoming Metal Gear Solid Delta or another entry in the franchise, Hater did say he's working to support Delta, and that he's pretty involved. So there's a good chance his new voice performance is potentially being done for Delta Snake Eater itself. Back in June, Zero's voice actor Jim Doc also revealed that he's doing the recordings for Delta, with Konami later stating that some of the game's lines are being recorded with their original voice actors, due to certain controls being different this time around. That being said, additional voiceover for Snake could mean something totally different, especially since Hater can't really talk about it yet. And despite the remake being planned to maintain its original story and structure, there's still plenty of new content Delta can implement, such as additional scenes, side missions, a Metal Gear Online mode, or even an additional post-credit sequence, which who knows, might tie into a future remake. Of course, these are just fun ideas to think about, and the possibilities are endless. Either way, this is definitely exciting news for Snake fans around the world. David has been a crucial part in shaping the Metal Gear experience we know today, so to have him return to his iconic role for a new performance after so many years is definitely a step in the right direction. It's good to have you back, boss. As soon as we'll have more updates, we'll be sure to let you know here on our channel. What do you think David Hater's new... Definitely updates, we'll be sure to let you know here on our channel. What do you think David Hater's new voice performance?
Metal Gear Solid Delta.
This is a video about the oldest unsolved problem in math. It dates back 2,000 years. Some of the brightest mathematicians of all time have tried to crack it, but all of them failed.
In the year 2000, the Italian mathematician Pier Giorgio Odifreddi listed it among 4 of the most pressing open problems at the time.
Solving this problem could be as simple as finding a single number. So mathematicians have used computers and checked numbers up to 10 to the power of 2,200. But so far they've come up empty-handed.
Why do you think this problem has captured the imaginations of so many mathematicians?
It's old, it's simple, it's beautiful.
What else could you want?
So the problem is this: do any odd perfect numbers exist? So what is a perfect number?
Well, take the number 6, for example. You can divide it by 1, 2, 3, and 6. But let's ignore 6 because that's the number itself. And now we're left with just the proper divisors. If you add them all up, you find that they add to 6, which is the number itself. So numbers like this are called perfect. You can also try this with other numbers, like 10. 10 has the proper divisors 1,